you're watching this, you may already be aware of the impact that lubrication has on machine reliability. In fact, you may already be part of a trend which is starting to treat lubricants as assets. In fact, there's a whole kind of science of asset management which is codified in the ISO 55000 standard. The issue with ISO 55000 is it's very generic. It deals with things like governmental assets, financial assets, brand assets, as well as physical assets. And as a result, it has to be very generic in its nature. Recognizing that, the ICML, that's the International Council for Machinery Lubrication, came up with ICML 55. And that's a set of standards which help our industry implement lubrication practices which adopt that ISO 55000 framework. We have this incredible opportunity in our industry to leverage all of the expertise that went into that document to make our lubrication programs that much better. The challenge that I found with this document is that it is very detailed. And in some cases, my clients have gotten a little bit lost in the weeds, combing through some 300 pages of best practice. So what I've tried to distill it down to is 6 kind of major areas where we can evaluate ourselves and then improve upon our practice. Those 6 areas are select, detect, inspect, and then protect, reflect, connect. The first 3 are really actions that we take as part of lubrication management, and the second 3 are really systems that we put in place which enable us to reinforce the first 3 and improve upon best practice. Now, many of our lubrication activities are going to have some or even all of these 6 elements. So take select, for example. Select includes things like lubricant selection and supply selection, but also machine design and selection. So when we are procuring, let's say, a gearbox, are we ensuring that we have, for example, oil sampling ports already installed? Do we have adequate sight glasses? Do we have 3D bullseyes? Do we have bottom sediment and water bowls that are already installed? Do we have allowances for things like desiccant breathers? All of that comes into selection. However, it enables inspection, right? So having things like an adequate sight glass is going to enable very quick and effective inspection of our lubricated assets. That is going to then further reinforce detect, right? Because it enables us to detect issues before they run us into downtime, for example. So in a sight glass, we might be able to observe the presence of water or even something like foaming. And then that in turn helps us protect our assets and protect the environment. The most sustainable action is if we can preserve the life of our components. Connect relates to how we connecting with best practice across our industry, but how are we also training our people so that they know how to implement all of these systems that we've set up. And finally, reflect looks at what kind of KPIs have we set up, what are we measuring ourselves against, how are we kind of evaluating ourselves on a consistent basis, and then using that evaluation criteria to improve upon our practice. So you can see very quickly that we're drawing upon all 6 elements.